I'm really excited by this tool that I've been using called MIRO, and I wanted to share it with all of you on YouTube because I think it's just a wonderful tool to help your thinking and brainstorming. And so this video is for you if you're curious about a new tool rather than your Google Docs or your Notion or your Obsidian or your Trello or your whatever. This video I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I got into it, why I think it's valuable for you, and then a quick how-to overview where I'm going to cover um, the shapes, the lines, web links, creating frames, and exporting. So if you're curious, let's get into it here. I think I heard about this from my mentor, Dr. Chris Alexander, the video games professor, a while ago, and I was trying to learn the Unreal Engine's animation, and so I went to their website, you see this, and I went to animation, and I was trying to read things through, but what would happen is I would start here and I'd be reading, and then there would be a hot link. Okay, so read about this. And then I would click on it and it would take me somewhere else. You see this? And then I'd be reading and I would click on it and it would take me somewhere else. And I couldn't really visualize the hierarchy, what's where. And I wasn't sure, okay, well, how do I get back? And I thought, what if I were to figure out a way to see all of those links in one place? And so what I did is I created this board here. So you see here, animating characters and objects, documentation links. Here is the top level domain that I just showed you. And then I basically clicked through everything painstakingly. So this leads to this, leads to this, this mesh leads to this, and then these three. And the way that I would do that is I would go to the documentation and I would hover over this little icon here. I'd click and hold, and then I would go to my page, and then I would just drop it. And it would give me a card. So that was hours and hours and hours of work. But what I have now here is a sort of clear visual map of all of that documentation that doesn't change on me. Okay, so that's how I got into it. And then I've also been starting to come up with some ideas for a game. So I've been bringing in screenshots of this plugin for cars and little random ideas and stuff. And then most recently, I've been working on an academic paper on diagrammatic thinking, I guess partly inspired by this application. And so I was, sort of doing like key thinkers and source clusters, and I was even creating graphics for the paper. And you can see here the paper is right here, so you can see some of the diagrams that I created here. My paper was about diagrams as a bridge between text and artworks. But anyway, today I was working on another map here just about my life, and I thought, hey, why don't I share this? So if you're still with me here, that's how I got into it, and now I'm going to move on to why it's valuable. And the reason I think it's valuable is because it's easy. You can create these shapes and links quite easily. You don't have to worry too much about things like graphic design. And at least for me, this kind of spatial layout, this mapping where I know this stuff is over here and this stuff is over there, rather than in a folder or a subfolder and a subfolder. So I guess if I were to summarize again why it's valuable is because it's pretty easy. You don't have to worry too much about the look. And it's very powerful and flexible. And yeah, oh yeah, and the spatial mapping. So if you're still with me, I'm now going to give you an overview of how to use it. And again, we're going to cover these shapes, how to make them, the lines, web links, how to create a frame, which is like a box around items. You see here, if I go like this, then I say right click, create a frame. See, then that is now a shape. And how to export these as pictures. So here we go. Oh, I should also say that I believe there is a free tier here. You're allowed up to 3 boards free. So if you do want to try this out, you should be good to go. Just sign up with Miro and let me know how it goes. So when you come to Miro and you say create new board, At first, it's going to be overwhelming. You're going to see so many different templates and options, and you're going to say, oh, do I want to use this? Do I want to use that? And I would say for now, don't even worry about it. Just X that out and start from scratch. Blank page and start with shapes. So I'm gonna run through these very quickly on the left-hand side. Diagramming shapes, if you click on that, there's all sorts of shapes you can use, but let's just start with a circle, okay? Now the default is outline, so I'm gonna click on that and turn off the outline by saying no color, and I'm gonna pick solid color, and let's make that green. And then if I double click in there, I can say text, like let's say tree. Double click on there, I can click the bold, and the bolds, I can increase the font size. Now, I'm going to close that. I think the diagramming shapes and the shapes are the same, so this is a little easier. So I can click a square now, and let me see here. Maybe I hold shift to keep the size the same size, and let's make that blue. So once I have two shapes, I can click on one, and then these four little dots appear. You see that? What I can do is I can click and I can drag from there over to the other, and now those two are connected. I can also change this line, so I can take the line, I can change it from a curvy line to a straight line. And I can also make that line dotted, and I can change the size. So you can make it a larger line or a smaller line. Okay, so there's shapes. And again, I can put some text in here. Say cat. Now, there's a few little hotkeys that I'll show you. If you want to duplicate this, rather than saying right-click double, you can hold Alt and click drag. You can also click Alt and right, and it will do more of those. And if you press L for line, oops, and then hover over something, that will allow you again to make these here. Okay, so moving down the list here, we have templates, and here's something that took me a while to wrap my head around. When I think of a template, I think of the whole file. So one file is one template, but in Miro, a template, you can bring the template onto your board here, and you can have more than one. So if I open templates here, and let's say I go, okay, customer touchpoint map, and I say use, it's going to bring that in here. So with my middle mouse button, I can zoom in, and there it is, and I can move these things around. And so here's the original one, and then there's that. So again, we can say template, let's find something else, research design. So I guess what I'm saying is you can like bring in a whole lot of different types of things, and then you can easily delete those and start fresh. Okay, so see here where my list was. Shapes, lines, web links, frames. Okay, so web links. I think this is one of the most powerful things about this program. And just like I used on this, you're able to drag in links to either public or private websites through the browser. So watch this. I have here a link to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy. I'm going to look up in the top left of this bar, and I'm going to click and hold this. See that? So I'm holding it, drag it over to my board, and then I'm going to let go. And what it does is it creates us an automatic card for that web link. You see that? And we can change the size if we want. And just like the diagrams, we can connect arrows from things around to it. So if you click on that once, and you click this little source, then it will open that tab for you. Let me show you that once more. So here I have another link. This is the New York subway map stuff. So top left, I'm going to click this little icon, hold it, hover over the Miro board, let it go, and it will create this nice little card for us with a preview of what's on the site. So that is extremely helpful, at least to me, rather than just copying and pasting a URL, which I assume you could also do. Let's see, copy and paste. I wonder if it does the same thing with the cart. It does, so you don't even have to drag it. All right, next we're looking at, so we covered shapes, we covered lines, we covered web links, and now frames. Let's say that I want to, here, let me just delete these lines. Let's say we want to group all of these in one and move them over here. So if I try and grab one, it will move separately. So I can select all of them and then move that. But what we could also do is select them all and then right click and say create frame. And now you'll notice that the background is white. And what that allows us to do is to click the frame and move just the frame, and then everything on that frame comes with it. It also allows us, once we have the frame, to right click and say export as image, and we can export a large image as a JPEG. And so when I was working on my academic paper, all of these pictures, you see that is the actual frame that I exported from MIRO. So let me just show you where that is. Here's my paper here. See, so I made these diagrams separately, and then each one of these I could still move within the frame, but here's the frame. See that? And then I would just right click and I would say export as JPEG, and then I would bring it to the paper. All right, so that is the frames, and I guess that's sort of exporting already covered, at least in terms of image. You can also take the whole board and you can export it as an image or a PDF, and a whole lot of other options. Pretty much anything you can imagine here on your bottom left you have, like a pen. Sticky notes are great. One thing that's cool about a sticky note is that the text will automatically size for you. You see this? So if I'm typing, it will automatically get small enough that you can always read it on the sticky note. Whereas a shape, for example, let's say we may make a star shape here, just like the squares. If I'm typing in there, it will get cut off. You see that? So I would have to manually lower the scale. I am going to leave it there. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if this helped you, I'd really love to know. It's been so valuable for me, so I was kind of hoping it might be valuable for someone else and they might appreciate it. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have a tool similar to this that you use, if you have something else, or if anything comes to mind, I'm always thinking and learning and exploring, and so I would love to know. Okay, thanks.